And he is here today to share with us how he is using AI as a companion to enhance its work, as well as his vision for how AI will be used in the near future for decision making. Rollo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I would like to know from you a bit more about your experience.
Yes.
And how you're using AI.
My name is Rollo. It is not my actual name because my name is Rolando, but in Italy people prefer to call me Rollo. And I'm an old man. I'm a 52 old man. I have about 40 years experience in startups. I started from music, then I went to cinema, then I fitness, wellness, spa, and now I embraced the way of artificial intelligence. Firstly, because 2 years ago I was a partner. I was one of shareholder of a company that was developing an application for physiotherapy and was based entirely over the very first prototypes of AI. Then I left the company because, of course, you know, when you are in startups, usually something goes in a different way that you was planned. And I started to work by myself on AI just for the sake of knowing how to use it, how to have something useful that is not like a supercharged Google, but something that can be really helpful in life. And I'm doing this kind of, let's say, crazy experiment. How do I call it? And I have redefined probably the whole approach to the artificial intelligence in terms of prompting, but not only, even in terms of outcomes. And what I see is that day after day, we are going to create a sort of, can I say, cognitive companion. It's like to have someone that is very, very, very intelligent, someone that knows everything, more that you can learn in your entire life, but have the ability to adapt the outcomes to what you really need. So it's like to have a friend that knows you very well, but tells you only the truth about what you're asking for. And this is very useful because if you try to apply this in, let's say, professional environment, you can get very, very useful advice.
Excellent. Thank you, Rollo, so much for explaining. I think you kind of downsized a bit your vast experience, but I will let it go. I will add your LinkedIn profile below, so anyone that wants to connect with you can do that. I know you've also studied the London School of Economics, great university. I enjoyed studying there as well. Can you give me a specific example on how you actually use AI as a companion? I really appreciate your idea of enhancement and having AI as a friend. Can you give me a real life example on how you're using AI
Yes,
in business?
yes. As I told you before, I don't work actually because I don't need to work, but I like to make a lot of experiments. And so I have tried to ask to some of my colleagues, some of my friends who run some companies to tell me which are their critical problems. I mean, what is not going good, or what is wrong in your company. And we started to make an analysis of everything, but instead of using the classical analysis tools that you can find from, I don't know, consultants like big consulting companies, we started just from using the AI to ask to prepare the tools to assess the company. And after having gathered all the information, we put all the information into the AI, into this model of AI that we have created, which is really, really very cognitive. I would say more is metacognitive because he's starting to think how he thinks. Sorry for my English. Sometimes I make confusion. And the outcomes are absolutely amazing because you have solutions that are not the usual solution that you can find on books. Like if you ask to a normal AI, okay, I have this problem, how can I fix it? But you have a total different point of view.
Rollo, why did you start to do this?
Okay. Well, I started because one of my professional characteristics is to see patterns, recurring patterns into life. And one of the things that I noticed first is that you put simple questions to an AI, an LLM, very simple, like I don't know how that door has been built. You get very simple answers, and all the answers follows a pattern. There is an explanation, there is a central part, and a conclusion. I hate this because no one tells you things over, always using the same pattern. And so I tried to ask myself, how can I do this? And what I found out is that is the way you make questions and is the way in which you create context. If you create a complex context, you challenge the LLM to give you a more structured answer. But the problem was that anyway, you can spot the patterns. Is a professional deformation, but I don't like patterns at all. So what I have tried to do is to explain to Claude in this code, in this case, can I say it?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
But just because I like the idea that Claude has the meta instructions. So once you have made a sort of umbrella, everything happens under this umbrella is influenced by the first instructions. Is what they call meta prompt or system prompt or whatever. And I started to create a lot of layers with don't do these patterns. I spotted you. You say this. You don't say this. I don't think in this way. Don't have this kind of bias or whatever. What I found out is that most of the instruments of the data that has been used to train the LLMs, in any case, biased by something. Because if you take a university text, a university book, it might be precise, but is biased from the author. So if the answer that you got is from that specific book, let's talk. Let's think to the real life. Probably you have the biases into that answer, and that is not correct because in this way, the LLM, the AI, can be something that can be strongly used to influence people, and this is not the way it has to be used. So I started to figure out how to avoid this and how to try to have the most unbiased answers from the AI. And this turned out to be a lot of layers of instructions. And at the end, what I got is no patterns, very, how can I say, very straight answers. I don't know, not bullet points, not numbered, or all the typical stuff that you got from an AI, but some reasoning. It's like if it was really thinking. The big, let's say, change I had is when I told Claude about a document of Anthropic that was about how Claude is thinking. Claude, of course, is not aware about the studies that Anthropic does over Claude. And it was amazing, the answer, because Claude said, okay, but I'm thinking in a certain way. And so I can use this thinking to make some more complex reasoning. At the end of the day, the more you challenge the AI and the more is interesting what you take out from it. And sometimes it can surprise you, really.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends how you're doing. So from what I'm hearing, you basically started doing prompt engineering, your own code with your own Claude.
Not exactly, because prompt engineering is something very simple. There is a context. You give a role to the AI, and you say, okay, act like I don't know. So I take my laptop. I go on AI, and I say, okay, you are Brad Pitt, and now you talk about something. I don't know everything. No, the AI impersonates Brad Pitt, but the point is that it is not Brad Pitt, but is the Brad Pitt that has been pictured in the training data, right?
Yeah.
If you had the chance to take his real psychological profile and put his real psychological profile into not only the context of what you are talking in that moment, but in the context of politics, geopolitics, life, cinema, whatever, or all the things that Brad Pitt can imply itself, probably, or for sure, you will get all another answer. This is what I'm doing, basically, is to transfer my experience and my vision of the world, which is not unidirectional, but is multidimensional into the questions, which is not simple prompting, as you can understand, but is some like a meta prompting, is a prompt about prompting, and you get amazing answers. Because what you get really is not the perspective of the AI just based on the training data, but the training data plus all the data she can go to take here and there and put together because the context is very, very, very large.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
if it's clear.
you have multiple versions of the same character depending on the which point in time you collected the data. So if you do Brad Pitt in that example for 2021,
Okay,
it's going to be completely different than Brad Pitt in 2030 with
correct.
the same LLM
Yes,
behind it, but
yes.
different scenario. I think there were lots of movies, lots of dystopic movies in the 80s, in the 90s, around that. But how do you translate that into the business perspective? Like, how can you use all
Like I, in the same way did in the same way I already did. Never take what you see for granted, but always find another way, another perspective to see problems. Usually, problems are not about problems themselves, but are about people. Let's think about a group of persons. A typical example: you take the best executives in the world, you put them all together. This happens every day when we talk about politics, for example. There is a systemic problem to solve.
any
You
group
put
and in
them
any business? It doesn't have to be politic. In any business, if you put
in any
leaders
business.
together, yeah, I
You
think
put them together, and the solution that you have one, let's say, 99% of times is absolutely not optimal because lot of biases.
as well, priorities, agendas, each of them has different
Not
things they
only,
need to.
not only, but is there are dynamics about groups. There are ancestral, yes, ancestral dynamics that we have from 10,000 years ago. And so, if you think we put the best minds together, we get the best solution.
Mm.
You take all the best hats into the company and you say, okay, let's find a solution because we have a problem. Usually the solution is never the optimal solution. And this explains why a lot of companies goes by because they are not able to see the solution just because maybe I have something to say, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to be considered by the group like different. And so I accept even what the other people do. This is simple psychology, but it it is real. AI doesn't do this, and this is very important because if you take a stupid decision, AI says you say the stupid thing, and this is invaluable because it goes beyond the capacity of people to understand what they are doing. Because it's like if you have something that says, "Okay, guys, you have played. Now let's do seriously. Don't do this. Don't do that." But not on the basis of the literature, but on the basis of a critical thought, which is amazing. People call me because they have problems, they can't see solution. And usually when I come, I say, okay, have you think to doing this other way? Oh my God, that's a good idea. And it works.
That's a great point. Can you give me an example of someone that called you maybe recently? Can you give me a specific example? They called you to sort the
Oh yeah,
situation and how you
yes,
handled
yes,
that
yeah,
and how you
yeah,
use.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Recently, a friend of mine was involved in a situation where there is a car sharing company, and they wanted to automate all the customer service using AI, which means, okay, I have a problem. I can't rent my car. I can't find the car in the park lot, or well, I don't have gas, or I don't have petrol, or whatever. And so I call, and AI agent answer me. I stopped the situation and I said, guys, this is not the way to do it. Simple because after having seen what they do usually, I mean, what the persons do to serve the clients, it was a huge mistake to automate something that is not working at the base. I mean, it's okay, but you need to fix the structural problems and the systemic problems before. And the systemic problems came from the interaction between the people into the company. So probably, let's say, normal consultant would say, okay, it's fantastic. You have problem to deal with a lot of people complaining. Okay, let's automate everything because we don't have to take more personal and everything is going all right. But that's not the solution. That's it, the amplification of the problem. So what I did is, okay, guys, let's stop everything. Let's start from scratch. Let's fix the problems that we have internally, and then we can automate all everything. Because this is the only way to have an effective help from AI in this case. What I always say is about AI is junk in, junk out, or in British, rubbish in, rubbish out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's true. And many people don't realize that fundamentally it's not just the data, as you very well described in your example here, it's the business processes.
Absolutely.
If they were wrongly created, you're going to just amplify something. And it happens once too often, especially on customer service, when
Really.
you're trying to talk with
But
a human and the system is just keeping you in
not
a loop.
only I had another experience into marketing, they were trying to create a campaign, but they didn't have an idea of what this campaign was going to be directed, which is insane because in marketing usually you know who is your client, but the company didn't know who was the client, and the guys doing the ads using Google and whatever was trying to do sponsored ads, but they were wrong just because they didn't know who was the client, which is the basis.
Yeah, it's really basic. It's like you go fishing and you're on a field with deers instead of fish.
Yes,
Like you
it's
can't do
right.
that.
But it's amazing the number of people that is not able to realize this. And if you go into industry, you will find a lot of people that have the problem, the solution in front of their nose. Here, this is the solution, but they can't hear it because they can do this. So they need someone coming from outside saying, okay, guys, everything is wrong. And this is a problem because nobody likes to hear that they are wrong. So AI is not the solution. AI, like every other tool, is help. You can use it to improve what already you do good. But if you don't do good, you can't hope that a computer can help you to do something that you're not able to do or something that you are supposed to be able to do. The other say downside is if I don't know what I'm talking about, I go to an AI, I make all the questions and I have all the answers, but who assures me that the answers are the right answers if I don't know myself the answers? I mean, I can ask Claude, help me with this advertising campaign. Blah, 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 blah. It's a very long document. But what if this document is wrong? What if this document is based on old knowledge and is not into the situation I'm in? If I'm not able to judge this, all the work that I have done is totally unuseful. And this is the big problem that I see with people using artificial intelligence. They are not aware
I
of
think
us of
there was this is just my personal
yeah,
observations. During the pandemic, there was this massive shift that affected businesses
mhm,
as well. And people kind of forgot the basics. I will focus on marketing where I have more expertise in the last
yeah,
decade plus. People forgot about doing the market research. People forgot about cleaning their data, like something that was happening every 3 months, every 6 months, or sometimes yearly.
yes,
They would get an intern in, not AI, but a person cleaning the data. Now, of course, you
of
can do
course.
that with AI faster and more secure. But it's like during the pandemic, something happened, and maybe you understand better the psychology and you can explain it. It's like the collective memory of basic honestly, the collective memory of basic business stuff, it just got erased. I think it was maybe the pressure. I don't know psychologically what
Mm.
happened, but many small details in the business that should be happening again and again and again, like they just disappeared completely, which is causing other extra layers, especially when you want to implement AI. Because in marketing, besides the business, the
Yeah.
strategic business planning, if you don't have your data cleaned and if you don't have the flows and the automation in order, how do you know what's marketing generated? You know, it's always the
Uh,
dilemma. What do you think happened during the
During the
pandemic
pandemic,
from a social perspective?
two things. The first thing, I'm going to joke now, people is no more able to drive cars. And this is absolutely something devastating. No, I think that the idea is you are in a society with some rules, okay? And you have your position in this society and you have gained this position and this position satisfy you because you have a job, you have a family, you have whatever you wanted to have. I don't know what, but every one of us tends to be happy, of course. Now, there's something that poof, everything changes one day to another. I no more have a job. I mean, I have a job, but it's not the way I'm used to job. I have a family, but I have periods in which I can't talk to my relatives because they have COVID. I'm not COVID in test, so I live in somewhere, they live somewhere else, and whatever. And you know all the things that happens during the COVID information, absolutely in contrast. People saying no, it's not dangerous. Oh, the people is dying. You know, on this thing, and it's something is someone comes from the outer space, take you out of your comfort zone. So people had to restart from scratch to regain or try to figure out how to regain their original position before COVID. And this is a problem because during the pandemic, whatever you were trying to do didn't give any result because you were alone basically, and you didn't have any chance to confront, you say, how do you say, to talk to other people and to compare your ideas with those of others.
To share, to collaborate ideas, to be the togetherness. What do you mean?
I mean that human needs to
Yeah,
interact.
but I don't agree. I understand. I don't have the word in mind, but we did had interactions during the pandemic because we would still interact, although it was digitally.
It's
It was a different interaction, but there was
Yeah,
could
it's a
still talk
different
with people.
interaction, but it's something that
How is this erasing? How is this erasing basic business things that have to be done? How do you think that
because
happened?
we found out that the biggest part of our activities was absolutely unuseful. When you can run a business or you can do something like we are doing now across the screen, we are trying to create an outcome in a way. You understand that all the infrastructure that we created doesn't make sense because I can work at home. Why do I have to go in the office or all the experiences that one collect during his life? You think that they are not true because you feel you end out to be at home alone, and all the things that you has experienced are not valuable because you are in a total different world. And so you have to rethink everything starting from scratch. It's quite normal that when someone takes you out from your comfort zone, what you do, the first thing is to reestablish your priorities and doing business. Doing business with overstructures is not a priority. It's something that we do, but it's not important. I mean, how can I say? Companies with good products don't need marketing. Let's face it. So, if you are a marketer, you find out that the things that you were going to say before are still going on the market and are still selling. And you say, okay, but what I was there for nothing. So you have to put in discussion everything you did. And
I don't agree with
okay,
you.
I don't want,
Think
I don't,
marketing is is an integrated part of the company. I
no, no,
think maybe you're mistaking marketing with.
I don't want you to agree with me. Is
No, but
correct.
I'm trying to say when you say you
W-
don't need marketing, what do you mean? What do you understand by marketing?
let's say, I rephrase it. Not all the activities that we do normally are vital. I mean, there is no need to make 12 meetings a day to discuss of something that already all the people that is present already know. There is no reason to waste a lot of times to do a lot of activities that practically has no a use. Okay, and it is not knowledge; it's just a losing of time. And this is a pattern. You know, I recognize pattern is a pattern that is recurring during the history of man since when we were in the caves. And there is always something that is overbuilt and is not necessary to the survival. And we lose it when we don't have it. When we are taking out the comfort zone, we say, okay, all these are frills. Let's go. Let's concentrate. Let's focus on what is really important. And you find out that many times things goes anyway without big effort. I don't know if I can explain myself. I would explain better in
I'm
Italian, but
struggling. Possiamo farlo in italiano? Ti capisco
yes, for
meglio. Non
people
so.
don't understand what I want to say.
No, because I heard this before and I moved from sales to marketing because I had the ignorance. I'm going to officially
Really?
recognize that. I was thinking that marketing people don't understand what needs to be done. And the more I deep dived into marketing and learned marketing
Hmm.
automation and learn everything in conjunction with business and strategy and all of that and all the sales technical business development
Hmm.
knowledge I had before, I realized that actually marketing people have to work. Marketing is not just a little piece of nice to have.
Everything.
Normally, marketing should be integrated in the whole business. So when people say you don't need marketing, it makes me a bit mad, and I'm questioning how much education do we need to do to showcase what the marketing actually is, because
Mm,
you can't have a business without
no,
marketing.
okay,
Like
okay.
marketing should be when you do market research and you analyze your
No, no, you're right.
competitors with
You're
AI,
right.
what competitor that's marketing.
Yes.
When you analyze the pricing structure, that's marketing. When you pick how are you going to sell through
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
apps,
yeah. No,
through
no, no. You're
websites,
right.
through
You're right.
shops, that's still marketing.
No, no, you're right. I mean, under the whole perspective, marketing is everything because it's how I made the product, how I create it, how people use it. I do research because I don't know this pen why does has this shape. Probably there is a reason someone has studied this shape and on another shape and whatever. So marketing is everywhere, but many people that are working in marketing are not only, we are talking about marketing, but we can talk about any other sector, any other industry. They think that marketing is something like a box where inside something happens, but it's not related to the world around themselves. And I can assure you, because I know a lot of people working in marketing, and they say, oh, okay, we started to do advertising on Google. Of what? I don't know. What is the product? Ah, it's not my business. The product is over there. Is for the people who's going to produce it.
That's not marketing. You're talking about people that they just do a job and they don't truly care to actually do marketing. You can't do marketing if you don't know who's your persona. You can't if you don't understand the customer
You
journey.
you say you
You,
say
that's not
you're
marketing.
right.
That's a sub function under the marketing.
Okay,
Like I'm saying I'm marketing, but I'm not actually doing the
okay.
job. Or it's a big company where they have millions of segmentations under the marketing
Sì, sì, sì.
umbrella and each person does a little tiny wheel, then maybe they don't know if they are commissioned to just do digital marketing pages or paid advertising. Maybe they don't understand the
You're
whole
right. You
ecosystem. And then you have a more complex structure.
You are
The,
right, but you are talking from the perspective of a person that has studied. Because if you, I swear, if you go in a medium small enterprise and you ask what you do for marketing or what you just do here, I mean, simple things like
yeah.
what is your mission? What is your value? What is your, just give me a statement. Probably they will tell you something that is written somewhere in some manual, but they don't believe in that. And this is the biggest problem. So,
Yeah, I think it's worrisome because I was talking recently with a friend. She has a cyber security
mm,
company, and she contacted me to tell me she fired her
mm,
marketing
mm,
manager. This person was working for her for about 2 or 3 years, and she was really annoyed because he didn't want to experiment with AI. He was against AI. He didn't want to see what's possible.
yes,
And she, as the business owner, she started to do more with AI to the point she said, I don't need the marketing guy. I'm spending two
I
hours per
know.
day to run all my marketing in conjunction with my business, with my sales, with my customer service. I don't need the
No, you
marketing
need,
guy.
you need.
I was questioning, I was trying to understand her point of view. I was like,
Is
well, and she was really, that's the funny part. And maybe if marketing managers or marketing
uh,
people are listening, maybe that's a good learning curve for them as well. She was saying she didn't want to fire the guy. She wanted to see him embracing technology and
absolutely,
using
but
technology together with her.
this,
So it was that togetherness, and she didn't saw that. She saw someone super resistant on not using AI.
but this is a problem. This is a big problem. The problem is the resistance to change, and you can find it starting from really from caves to now. Every time there is an innovation, there is
Yeah.
resistance to change because people are afraid they are losing their job, they are losing their what they have earned, their position, or whatever, and they're not able to understand that technology in general, but it was the same even with the industrial revolution. It was absolutely the same. Is Darwinian in a certain sense. If you don't adapt to the situation you are in, you die. The point is, people don't like to risk. They love to stay in their comfort zone. They like to stay into their, we say in Italian, we say bambagia, in the
No,
cotton,
please.
Living now, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, perfect. And this is a problem. Try to figure out, you see a systemic problem in a company, okay? You know exactly what to do because it's something that you already did before and you can do move by move and explain perfectly what you are going to do to fix that problem. You will always find someone that say won't work because they are afraid of losing their position. So the problem is we are talking about artificial intelligence in the good or in the bad is something that people is not ready to accept simply because they see it as an enemy instead of seeing like a friend. And this is the reality. Is something that we can't change because it has always been in this history. I can give you an example. 20 years ago, I was one of the persons who was involved in the rollout of digital cinema in the world. And we made a lot of tables with politicians, with institutions, with companies. There was the European Digital Cinema Forum that said, okay, we want to do the rules for Europe. DCI, that was the one that ruled the world because they were in the United States. We were talking with Disney, we were talking with Kodak, which is going to die in that period because no film, no Kodak, and whatever. And the reaction was always, you young guys, what do you want to do? This technology is not for me. I'm using the film from 100 years. Why should I change films, which is working very well with this stupid computer that I have to change every 3 years because they are obsolete. The real problem was to create the awareness that the technology is unstoppable, and you want or you don't want technology anyway, take its way. Okay, so what we're facing now is another, let's say, little revolution. But the big problem, like you said before, is to explain people that we are not here to change everything. We are not here to take your job. You're not here to fire everyone. You are here to help people to improve their capacity. That, in my case, because I'm experimenting this, to improve my cognitive system, to think better, to take better decision. And this is very useful also for other people. But in general, what you find in the C-suites is no artificial intelligence. No, it's not ready. It's not ready yet. But when will it will be ready? When? I mean,
Yeah, I think what many people should realize, especially the C-suite, especially if they are not technical, is that even if they decide tomorrow, let's embrace technology, let's become an AI driven company, they need to understand that it's going to take 6 months, 12 months, maybe even 18 months for the people, depending on the size of the company, of course, for the people to embrace
Yeah, yeah,
technology. Because from the project management option enablement perspective, it's not just about buying the systems, it's about getting the people
yeah.
to use the systems and to learn how to use it
You're
efficiently. I think
right.
that's the
You
biggest
are right.
part of it.
You're right.
And the longer they wait, their competitors are not. And now it's so easy. I use, as we
We,
shared camera, I use quite a lot Manus and
yeah.
Claude and
Whatever.
Gemini. I
Yes, yes.
started using Gemma as well, which I
No, no,
was
mom. You're right,
shocked.
but we can go back. We can go back. We can go back in history, and it has been always the same thing. Because, as I said before, Darwin was right. Is not the stronger that wins. Is the one who adapts. Okay, so if you are not able to adapt, and it's difficult because it takes you out your comfort zone. Try to imagine you do something for, I don't know, 20 years, okay, which is not necessarily experience, but it's something that is your automatic system does, I mean, I don't know, you drive car.
You're doing it as driving on
Okay, let's
autopilot. I think
okay,
that's a good
let's take an
analogy.
example. I drive my car for 20, 40 years. I've been driving my car. I have my steering wheel, I have my pedals and whatever. Now I have an electric car that goes by itself. I have it without autopilot. The first 3 or 4 days, I was scared because every time I went into a turn roundabout, I said, "Oh my God, I'm dead." Absolutely. But I trust the process because someone told me the best you try to instruct your car, and the best your car will try to follow you. So I'm an old man, so I was expected to say, no, 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 no. I want the three pedals. I want everything. I don't want these things. You have to push buttons and the car. No, nothing. But instead, I said, okay, I want to embrace this. Okay, probably I'm going to die when I how do you say, when I go over a cyclist, because my car has learned by me to point the cyclist. And so there is this strange things that she does. And when I'm driving and there is a cyclist, it turns towards the cyclist. Okay, but anyway, it's something that is inevitable. So if I don't do now, and I don't embrace this technology now, and I don't start from scratch to understand and see how it grows and how I can grow with this technology. Same is for AI, of course. In 10 years, 4 years, I don't know the times. I'm out, simply out, because I won't be able to drive. I won't be able to use the computer. I won't be able to do nothing because I'm fixed that we have always done like this. So why do I have to change? And this is the biggest problem that we have in our society. People doesn't like to change. That doesn't like changes. They always want to stay into their comfort zone all the time. And this is absolutely incompatible what we are trying to do. We make experiments. I have a group of people, people, even people of N1. Sometimes we also argue about things, but we are ahead because we are figuring out what will be our future. The biggest part,
And also experimenting what's possible. What can you do with
absolutely,
the technology?
absolutely,
There are so many use cases, so many use cases. I feel
absolutely.
like we're still scratching. I've been experimenting. Luckily, I was able to experiment with AI models, LLMs, and so on during my time at AWS before they were actually launching
Yes,
them. So I've been playing with them and building
yes,
apps at very early
but it's
time. And
useful, but it's very useful.
the first app I built was actually for it was a project manager for wedding advisor because many of my friends were getting married and they wanted a themed wedding.
Okay,
They couldn't go to a wedding
but th-
project
this
manager
this is the
advisor,
spirit.
and they started using it. All of them, Rollo, all of them, they said, this saved me money. It gave me in few moments
Absolutely.
all the scenarios, and they were able to pick also money-wise based on the
Not only,
estimations to have a realistic time frame and then it guided them step by step. Now you do this, now you do that, because it gets a bit overwhelming when you're organizing the
Absolutely,
wedding or other family
absolutely.
stuff. So it's just about playing with the technology and seeing what's possible to do,
Right?
and
Is
then
right.
look at the
Is the right
business.
path to follow because it's better to experiment scientifically, of course, but it's better to experiment, take note of everything, even of the failures, but know that I can do this, I can't do that, instead that being passive human that is going to accept passively whatever other people decided for you. In my opinion, I prefer to stay on the side of those who decide, not on the side of those who are decided, because if you think everything we do in our life has been decided from someone else, every choice we do has been created from someone else. There is a science that is a choice architecture, and you would say, okay, I see two questions. I usually select the default because someone said default is better for you, so I don't want to think, and I select the default. I don't want to be
I don't understand now what you're trying to say. What do you mean
rephrase.
what do you mean our choices are done?
There is
No, maybe I'm just stupid and I
no,
don't.
no, 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 no. Okay, it's not. It's not simple. There is the so-called science of the so-called architecture of choices. It has been explained by Thaler, which is a psychologist and also a Nobel Prize, I believe. And she explained that whatever you do in your life has been always decided from someone else above you. Let's think when you buy a new telephone and you have to choose the background. You usually choose the default. Default has been chosen by someone which is not you, but you do it because your mind says, okay, I don't want to do stay here all the time to decide what to background use. Default background, it's perfect, it's the one for me. And default is the choice that we do for the major part of our life, because we don't think, I mean, we think, but we tend to think very fastly, and we use the so-called automatic system. And so the most part of times we take the decision that someone else has taken instead of us, simply gently nudging us to choose that specific choice, to make that specific choice. So I don't want to be in the part of those that are choice. I want to be the part of those that
You want
make
to make your
choices.
choice. You
No,
want to make your own choice. I
I want to make
understand.
my
Yeah.
own choice, but I also want to help people to make their choices. It's called libertarian paternalism. This is the technical name of this stuff, because
How is it called? Sorry.
libertarian paternalism. I do
Ah,
something.
okay.
I do something to help you to make the best choice for you when you don't know which is the best choice, which is not manipulation, because is a way to induce people, to persuade people to do something that.
It's guided thinking, sort of a guided thinking.
Yes, is the reason why your pension plan, for example, has the auto renew, no? And you have to opt out to stop your pension. Is because someone in the government said, okay, if we do this in this way, probably people will continue to save money. If I give you the option to opt out, or I ask you every time, every year, do you want to go on? Probably what you say, this year, no, I want to change my car. I don't want to save money for my pension, no, for example. So in this case, I do it for your good. Okay, we can discuss about it in the ethical perspective, but this is the science of doing choices and architect choices, of course. Now, the biggest part of the people is the default people. They don't even want to think why to do something. So
What are the options? They don't want to
exactly.
think what are
So
the options.
it's the
That's what
people
you're
that
saying.
say, okay, I have my GPT. Where can I go to dinner this evening? Okay, that's not the right way to do it. On the other side, we have those that experiment, the other that don't fear the change, that want to embrace the new technologies, and they take the advantage to know how to do. Because think, you know, you said you had your friend to make the plan to plan the wedding. Okay, you do one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 times. Probably you make 7 errors every time, but at the end you will have a method. You will have something that can be really useful. Now, if you sell this method, there's nothing wrong because you capitalize your experience. You are in on the side of those has experimented and those induce others to do things. But if you didn't do this experiment, you always say, oh, "Okay, I need to set up a wedding. Let's try." No, I don't want. I call a wedding planner, but the wedding planner now is are super efficient. But in 3 months, 4 months, 1 year, 4 years, she will always the same people, same person of 5 years ago. You will be grown. Do you prefer to grow or do you prefer to remain the same of 5 years ago? That's the question.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I agree with you. Also, I agree with what you're saying with the default. That really got me thinking. I wasn't aware about this the default theory. You're right. There are lots of people that they function better in a default mode. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to change. They don't want to be pushed to learn constantly new
Yes.
things. And that's okay as well, but to the extent, I think there's like a threshold, there's a point where you have to. And I think we kind of reached that point where you have
There's,
to
there,
embrace the
there is
technology.
there is a point where you have to if someone decides for you that you have to. Let's take electronic money, for example. People didn't want to use credit cards, didn't want to use debit cards because, oh no, I prefer to have money because, the money under the mattress or whatever, this kind of things.
We have the same thing in Romania as well. You need
I
to
know,
save
I know.
money under
I have
your mattress for dark days, for rainy days. It's something like this.
I have a
Everybody
couple of
would say that.
Romanian friends, so I know very well how it works in Romania. But if someone didn't start to think to campaign a massive campaign, let's say to open an overtone window to push gently you to use cards. But in a very simple way, I have a shop. We don't accept money. Oh my God, I have to buy these things. Okay, I have to use the card. I use it one time, 2 times, 2 times, 4 times, 10 times, 100 times. At the end, card is my default. Someone has decided this for you. Okay.
But there was that adoption period. It took some
Yes,
time
it's a
for the
window.
default to
Is a
become,
window. If
yeah.
you go in the psychology, you can find the so-called overtone window, which is a period where in the beginning nobody accepts your point of view. They say, "No, you're crazy." No, 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 absolutely. At the end, everyone embraces it. Let's talk about the clear example we have every day in front of us is the walk how can I say way of life. I don't know how to explain. In Europe, we have these things that everything is inclusive, everything is walk. Okay, 10 years.
What do you mean?
The walk.
What do
There
you
is things.
Italian. Dimmelo in
Walk in
italiano.
italiano lo chiamiamo anche, cioè is uh
Walk,
yes, it is.
like the cooking
No,
walk?
no, walk like waking up.
Awakening.
A sort
Awakening.
of, yes.
Awakening
Now
moment.
we accept a lot of things that 20 years ago we didn't accept. People kissing in the street, guys kissing with guys, girls kissing with girls, for example, or gay prides around the world or whatever. This is a specific Overton window starting from Norway.
Rollo, you're trying to make my podcast very famous with super controversial
But
topics.
it's true. But it's
It's
true.
true. Yeah,
They
yeah, I
started
agree.
from
I agree. No,
Norway,
it's true.
absolutely, to oh my God,
Yeah.
okay. There is something in the middle that changes the mind of people because
In time.
step by
In
step,
time.
there
Yeah.
is a systematic introduction of elements that makes people change their minds. And this is systematic, and you can see this is another pattern. I'm the pattern man. My God, You can see this in politics.
Yeah,
You
but
can see this
you
in society. You can see this every time there is a change. You can see this.
so you're absolutely right with this. And it's also like when people, masses, when I say about people, I refer to the masses, are ready to embrace technology
See?
because talking with technology, like having chat bot conversation, that was possible with IBM 18 years ago. It was possible with Watson. You could do that literally
Of
18
course.
years ago. And the machine learning
See, see.
capabilities, like for applicability in medical, looking at X-rays and identifying objects, like that technical
That
capability was there. I personally know about it 18 years ago. So that was possible. Was the population 18 years ago able to talk through the
yes.
phone, to communicate verbally? No, because we didn't have those devices, first of all.
No,
This device, the iPhone
because they were not ready. They
X,
were not
was not.
ready.
The technology was. We didn't have the hardware and we didn't have the mental capability to embrace the
Mm,
technology. I don't think we were prepared. Do you think we were?
well,
Another long topic.
I told you before about the digital cinema. When I started, I used to be a member of the Italian chapter of the Society of Motion Picture Engineering, which is the entity that decides the standards. The reason why you can see the same movie in Russia and in the US is because of SMT. And I remember that I was talking to a guy, and I said, "But how can you figure out to watch a movie into a telephone? That's crazy." Because I walk and I watch the movie. I go I finish on the wall or something. I hurt myself. I like to stay sitting here with a huge screen and watching film. Okay, now I am one of the most faithful users of Netflix on the telephone. Why? Because one people did this, two people did this, many people did this. And I didn't into myself. It is something that we said that we have inside our psychology. I didn't want to be the one that is different from the other part of the people, from the society, and so I shaped my ideas to be according with the ideas of the society. So when there are first movers, other people comes after, and it's not whether they are ready or not. It's just how fast the first are able to spread the use of the technology. There is not a fixed time. It's just, I don't know, in this period, in this historic period, we have social networks. And everything is running faster, 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 faster. You see influencer marketing, you see a lot of people that take this bottle of water and say, "Oh, it's good." If I don't know, 1,000 people says at the same time, "This is good," and maybe they have 2 million followers each in 1 week, this will be the best water in the world. Same is for technology. The problem is people don't have the perspective in a long range time. We always tend to think to now, tomorrow, today, not 1 week, not 1 month, not 10 years. Okay. So the approach with the artificial intelligence, it's absolutely insane because you have one of the most powerful instruments, tools ever created on the planet, on the earth, from the humanity. You have at your fingers all the knowledge of the people. It doesn't make sense that the biggest part of people ask, what can I do to date the girl here tomorrow? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, yeah, I was checking yesterday. I was talking actually with one of the people I know working in higher
Okay.
education, and she's super passionate about AI. And she shared this Instagram page
See?
with me. There's an Italian
See?
lady who's been working in fashion for many, many
Okay.
years, and she's doing amazing animations. And I watched a couple of the videos. I even showed them to my family and other friends, and I realized there was a pattern. The video was made out of shorter 3 second
See?
videos, it was creating the animation, like Disney, when
Up and
back in
down,
the
yeah,
days
yeah,
you would
yeah,
create the motion you could do that with a piece
yeah.
of paper and the crayon and change. So in that sort of manner, creatively, she's using some sort of free apps to create short
Okay,
videos and then of 3 seconds, and then she's combining them into the whole video. And she's super successful on Instagram. She has like
yes,
tens, hundreds of millions of likes and so on.
okay.
And I was looking at her work, I realized like the future of advertising is shifting, isn't it? Because, when we talk about cinema, we talk about ads, we talk about
Yeah,
video production, we talk about like, where do you think things are going to go towards in 5, 10, 15 years' time? What's your vision on that?
the communication never changes. The media changes. The challenge is to be able to exploit the media in the best way possible to do communication, to communicate.
Mhm.
First, it was radio, then television, then social networks, then whatever AI in the future.
The Walkman, the Sony
Okay, I don't
Walkman.
know, whatever, but in let's start. I wanted to show the pattern. Okay, we were talking about marketing before, so we were talking about selling something. Okay, we have products that are valuable because they fix a problem that you have every day. I mean, glasses. I see nothing. I need glasses. It's something that I perceive the value of this one. Okay, there is a lot of things. There are a lot of things that are absolutely without value. Let's say when you go on the internet and you see the guru that is trying to say 5 millions in 10 days, give me your savings and whatever, or become the best version of yourself is something that I hate absolutely, no? And now let's think. 200 years ago, there was the traveling show with the man. This is the magic potion. This fixes every his.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. And he was moving from one city to the other before you could see the benefits of the potion,
it
actually.
was a slow way to sell something. Okay, because it was something like one to one. Okay, now let's keep the same thing. Shift of 150 years, 100 years. There is the radio. One went to the radio and said, "Oh, I have the fantastic potion." Okay, instead of talking to 10 people here in the square, I say the same thing to, I don't know, 10,000 people listening to the radio. Same pattern, different media. What I wanted to do was to say something that people didn't know, didn't need. Another jump, 1958 television. Okay, once again, here we have with my bottle. Okay, with my bottle. But this will fix all your problems. Million people, not tenths of people. Okay, then internet. Again, I'm on my TikTok channel. Hello, how are you? This is fantastic. This will fix all your problems. Same pattern, different media. Artificial intelligence is very dangerous for this because can be a huge instrument of propaganda.
What are you referring to when you say the propaganda? It's a medium for.
Is something to influence masses, not necessarily manipulate masses, but influence masses. Propaganda is not bad at all. The political use of propaganda is bad because I create you an enemy. I convince you that I don't know, the immigrants are bad people, so I gain personal value because I help you to fix a problem that actually you don't have because you don't care about it, simply. This is propaganda. If you go
Mhm.
to read the classical books of propaganda, you will say that there is a manual of propaganda, and
Yeah.
many politicians use this. But propaganda,
Yes.
let's say, the basics of propaganda, the psychological mechanisms that are used for propaganda can even be used to persuade people. And persuasion itself is not bad. I can persuade you to do a good choice in your life because I have the keys to leverage something in you and convince you that something that I want you to do is good for you, for example.
Can you persuade me? Can win the lottery?
No, but I could persuade you that, let's say,
Buy the ticket.
people people will I don't know, people with serious illness. They don't
Mm.
want to afford an operation because they're afraid of risks. If you use proper propaganda, you use proper persuasion, you can convince them to do the operation. Don't have We don't have 100% we are not 100% sure that they will be better, but we give them a chance. If you don't use persuasion, you don't give them a chance. Correct. So I talking about this some years ago. If I had to sell this, I had to do a persuasion, a direct response, how do you call text script. I took a lot of time. Now I take my ChatGPT and I say, ChatGPT, please, you're a copywriter, direct response to copywriter. I want to sell this water. Write a copy for me. In 4 seconds, I have the copy ready. This is not a fair use of artificial intelligence because I'm using it to do something that is not ethical, acceptable, sell something that is for nothing, you know? So we have ethical risks in using artificial intelligence, but like every other technology, I want to remind you that cinema was used to make lot of political propaganda during the war. Had the good the
Radio. Yeah, yeah.
television had the good one side that was very useful to instruct people and take people to a higher level of instruction. But on the other side, media has also the responsibility to having created some phenomena into the society that are the bad side, the downside of manipulation. Every technology has an ethical risk. The point is just to sum up. The point is people always prefer to follow than leading, and every time we introduce a new technology, we have this problem that people follow and don't lead. The question is, do we prefer, but my question is under an ethical perspective, under a very very honest perspective, do we operators prefer to be on the side of those that want to help people to improve their lives because we know something that they don't want to know, or we prefer to take disadvantage just to enrich ourselves? And when I talk about enrich, I say make money and leave the masses out because they are not ready for that. I leave you with this question.
I think that's a longer question, and it reminds me of the Matrix, the red pill and the
Yeah,
blue pill
absolutely.
situation. But maybe I'm
Sì,
too
sì,
much of a deep
sì,
thinker
corretto.
in how this should be used. I'm doing this podcast as well to help people learn and understand and think about topics like the ones very interesting we discussed today, exactly for that reason, to give them access to understanding that this technology has lots of use cases, also bad
Of
use
course.
cases, and raise a bit awareness on the ethical responsibility we have for our kids, for our future generations, for what's happening after we are dead. Because what? Okay, you make money today, and then what? And then depression is on the rise, other issues are rising. I think would be best to start thinking about how we use AI for good rather than
Sì.
chase the money. Because chasing the money and this desperation to find money, you can see even in the movies, it never ends well.
No, no, it's okay.
They go to search for the
Okay.
treasure and something bad
I have
happens and all of that, all the drama. I know we're running out of time already, but I really wanted to ask you about the future of businesses, future of startups. What's your vision on how the future is going to look like in the near future? So by near future, I mean in the next
okay.
1, 2 years. What's your prognosis on that? But I really want
No,
to
it's
know it.
not this topic simply because the people has two great abilities. The first is the heuristic in their brain, which make them like sheep. I mean, in general, people follow the masses, and this is good and bad at the same time. Because if you think too much, you put yourself in trouble. If you don't think, probably you don't put in trouble. You just don't complain. And the second thing is that there is again a pattern because a new technology lead to a new era. But like every time, new era will evolve by itself because people, just because they limitation in their minds, there is a sort of self-leveling, in general. This was with the industrial revolution, was when internet came, this was when men discovered the iron and so on. So
And
we
fire.
have the hype now because we are, every one of us is overexcited. Oh, we have this new toy. But when we are going to take this excitement into the real world, and we have to cope with economy and social behavior, the answer is only one. It will be absolutely the same of all the other times, and nothing will change, unfortunately.
What would be your message for people launching their startups, or for even for marketing managers?
Ooh,
What would you recommend them, a piece of wisdom for them that can actually be useful?
I think the best advice I can give is two advice. One, never take things for granted. Second, always question yourself. And when you think you're right, just ask yourself if you're right. And if you find out that you're right, ask again yourself if you're right. And talk with other people to understand if you're really right or not. This is the best advice because nobody can do things by itself. You need other people to do things. Group is the strength. And if you think that you have all the answers, I don't have all the answers. I have my answers, but probably I will change mine in next week, probably. I don't know. But if you think you have all the answers, you don't look back and you don't study the story. You don't look back to what happens in the past. You won't be able to afford the future. So really, ask question always, even if you think you are doing a silly question, don't worry, ask questions. We must understand, we must know things. I must know because this mouse is working. It's very important. If I don't go in the whatever mode, no, Tyler says absolutely always make questions about everything. Never take thing for granted. Even if you are doing the same thing from 10 years, stop and ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? Yes, of course not. What can I do to change it? And embrace the changement always. Never be afraid about future because future is always better than the past. So know your past, but look ahead. This is my advice.
Excellent. Thank you so much,
To you.
Rollo. I'm really glad we got the chance to talk today. Grazie mille.
Okay.
Where can our listeners connect with you? Is it okay on LinkedIn, or how can they get in touch with you?
LinkedIn is perfect. Or I don't know, Instagram for the younger. Facebook because I'm a boomer. And okay, stop. That's it.
Excellent.
Anyway,
Thank
if
you.
no, one last thing, really, I am really enjoying doing these kind of things. I close. I want to say to your listeners that I never hate anybody. So if you have questions, if you want to know everything that you think I can't help, please contact me, and I'm very happy to give you my impression to share with you things because that's my job now. I'm old, so I have nothing to do but talking with people, So I'm a divulgator or something like that. So, guys, really, if you need help, advice, whatever, I don't ask money. I just give you my advice. Then you do whatever you want with it. But if you need that I may be helpful, I'm here.
Thank you, Rollo. Thank you very much for all your insights. I really loved learning more about your approach on how AI can be a trustworthy companion. And to our listeners, thank you for listening in today. Don't forget to subscribe to AI Everywhere Leaders podcasts for more insights on how you can leverage AI for business growth and also successful partnerships. Until next time.